The following podcast is intended for mature audiences. If you enjoy our work, please like, comment, subscribe, and follow the links in the description. Thanks for your support, and enjoy.
Greetings and salutations, listener. It is I, Eric J. Chucky, joined as always by... I have nothing that isn't spoilers, the boy.
Hey, yo.
Scott Hall, the boy.
I'm the bad guy.
Star Wars. Good night, everybody!
Oh, no. Alright. This episode is about The Last Jedi, the most recent War of Stars movie.
Yes.
2017.
Barely. Not for much longer.
For now.
Far too late for now.
Anyway. So, spoiler-free review time?
God, I don't know. Alright, look, okay. If you're coming to us and you're listening to this podcast and you want a spoiler-free review, I am going to give you 100% just my opinion on the film. Go fucking watch it. That's the review.
My spoiler-free review is... Go watch it. Don't go married to it.
There you go. That's the end of it, because... Goddamn. Why are you turning on this podcast? That was a spoiler-free review. So, spoiler E review.
Well, they're both E reviews, really. We're on the internet, and they're electronic reviews. And
Don't make me fire you.
who you gonna fucking replace me with?
A sock puppet that I make a funny voice for.
Oh.
He'll laugh at all my
Shit,
jokes.
can you fire me? That sounds better.
They won't know he's a sock, though, so it loses some of the sad
Wrong.
desperation.
Wrong. It makes it way better.
Fucking next week. Greetings and salutations, listener. It's I, Eric J. Chucky, joined by Rocco. Hey, everyone!
Best part, we record our shit in stereo, so you hear us differently out of different ears if you have headphones on, but Rocco will come from the same direction.
Not if I lean.
Oh, but the leaning sound will make it so much sadder.
Oh my god. Okay, so, yeah, you've got more than enough time to get over spoilers. I don't want to go Chester A. Bum on this, but I really liked this film. I need to see it again before I can cement my place in the list of Star Wars movies, but it's in my top 3 definitely.
I'm upset that I don't like this film more.
You know what, I think it had to have just hit you harder for some reason, because, like... Well, why don't you go ahead and explain to the listener who has already seen the film, if they're watching by this point, what you didn't like.
I think I had right after I watched the movies, I was trying to find the right way of phrasing it. Took me a minute, but after some consideration, I think I figured it out. It's that I did like this movie. I actually liked it quite a bit, and my favorite part was entirely fucking pointless and shouldn't have been in the film. And that upsets me to a really, really great degree.
I mean, I understand that, but like...
And it didn't need to be, and it was only in the movie to pad runtime on what would have otherwise been a perfectly reasonably length movie.
Oh, no, it was not. They cut down this movie from like 3.5 hours.
Right. Literally, a third of this movie is... completely unnecessary to the film. It does nothing. It adds nothing. It is nothing.
It's fun.
Yeah, so is a fucking pony ride. That doesn't mean it needs to be in a Star Wars movie.
I mean, so is a Star Wars movie. That doesn't mean you need to go watch it.
Come on. Don't become that guy.
Well,
Don't go full pedant. Well, nothing really matters.
Well, no. I mean, but like, to that same extent, like, it gets important character development for Finn. It introduces us even more deeply to Rose. It shows us We're talking about Canto Bight, by the way. A peek into the non-political upper crust of the Star Wars galaxy, which is something we've never seen before.
It also delivers, like... Okay, so this, and I need to stress, this part of the movie, I'm going to sound very negative about. It's actually my favorite part of the film. It's my favorite part of the film for a lot of reasons, which I'll go into later, but I have to get the negative stuff for you to understand. This part of the movie, the setup for it is Leia is taken out by other events in the movie. She's in a coma. Her replacement is Vice Lieutenant Purple Hair, or whatever the fuck her name is. I don't bother. I don't care. Who is purposelessly obstructionist about something that isn't a secret, to the point that several other people on the ship have to know what's going on, but must have received specific instructions not to tell one specific character, because she wants to teach him a lesson about getting in line and doing what she fucking says because she fucking says so. That's the only logical reason for the following events to take place. And thus is the poison that makes me so mad that this part of the movie exists. So, it seems as though, from this character's perspective, that being Poe, the person who's been put in charge of the fleet, has no real plan. Because when he looked at her and said directly, "I just want to know if we have a plan," she shrugged and walked away, essentially. So he has to try and come up with a plan to save the fleet, which is being chased by the bad guys. Because apparently the person in charge doesn't have one. Which he did ask for directly. I want to keep restating that.
Sure.
And it wasn't a secret. It's not like they were worried about spies on the ship. It's not like they were talking over communications that could be intercepted. They were in the same room. So, he makes a plan. He contacts, Maz Kanata, I believe her name is, and says, they make a plan. They figure out there's a MacGuffin on one of the Star Destroyers that's chasing them. It's only on this specific one. If they can take out the MacGuffin, they can get away from the bad guys. There's more details, and they're really cool, and they're really awesome, and they make for fun, banter, and they make for fun character moments, and I'm mad that they're so pointless because they're really good. So then they contact Maz Kanata, and Maz Kanata says, "All right, I could do it, but I'm busy, fighting dudes, unnamed dudes. Just don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You have to go get this guy. You have to go get this other guy. He's a super cool, suave hacker man who's gonna be at a high rollers table in a casino." So they go to the casino, and it's on this one planet. So they find the planet, they go to the casino, and then a series of wacky misadventures ensues in the casino, which is 35% comedy bit, until, and again, I'm phrasing this as negatively as I possibly can. Please note, I really liked this part. Until they run into the most ham-fisted "rich people are evil, war is bad" message being crammed into the movie at them. And then they escape the evil war-mongering rich people with the help of a shifty hacker, because the hacker they were recommended to was unavailable for reasons. And the shifty hacker gets them out. And then they get to the Star Destroyer. The shifty hacker proves he wasn't such a bad guy after all. And they have a good, moment of triumph, Star Wars style. They get to the MacGuffin. They're about to take out the MacGuffin. Nope, turns out they get caught. They lose. They suck. And Poe was stupid all along. Leia comes back from her coma and shoots him. Oh, and there was actually secretly a plan the whole time that would have gone off without a hitch if Poe hadn't done anything. Because literally the only reason that plan doesn't work is because Poe was an idiot and didn't just sit the fuck down and do what he was told. And then a whole bunch of people die because Poe is an idiot. Oh no, I'm sorry. A whole bunch of people die because General What's-Her-Name decided not to tell Poe things for reasons. That all could have been cut out of the movie. Because what's the plan? The plan is we fill up the transports, and then we use our cloaking technology to get them to this secret moon base. But we need to play for time until then. So we've got to come up with some way to keep the Empire from noticing, or the First Order, excuse me. And then they could have inserted some shit about that, take half the time, would have been nice, would have been fun, wouldn't have caused a massive plot hole that's driving me bonkers.
It's not really a plot hole, though.
It's a plot hole because the only way it isn't a plot hole is if... It's a plot hole because we are told as the audience that this woman is competent. This woman is competent and should be regarded positively for keeping her underlings in the dark for no good reason, refusing to share information, and getting a bunch of people killed through her almost like intentional show of incompetence so as to suck the faith away from her subordinates. It's...
When are we told that?
Because Leia specifically sits Poe down afterwards and shames him for trying to go around the system.
I mean, yeah, alright.
Like, I liked that part of the movie. I really thought it was fun.
Well, and okay, and this is, to me, it's more... Honestly, I think it fits in with the rest of the theme of the movie.
Okay, you have my attention.
Alright?
Because I want to like this movie.
Right, and I think... And maybe it's just me, maybe having really enjoyed this movie. And for once, listener, please, believe me when I say that we're both enjoying this, well, at least I am, this weird role reversal, as much as you might be.
I don't like not liking movies. I don't like not liking Star Wars movies. And I liked this movie, but this one part, especially the smug way Leia shames a character for doing what was obviously the right thing from all the information he had, and what made it the wrong decision was information he didn't have, that the person who she is lauding in his place could have easily told him.
I didn't find Leia talking to him smug or shaming. More just, like, explaining what had gone down.
The specific line I'm talking about is she was more interested in protecting the rebellion than being seen as a hero. That's not being seen as a hero, it's being seen as a competent leader. If something's need-to-know information, if they had at all implied that this information was secret or risky to tell people, I could totally understand.
All right.
It's just an unfortunate misunderstanding. Those happen. But it wasn't. It wasn't a secret. People were refueling those tankers. It wasn't being done in secret.
Sure. And let's hang on to that specific nugget there, because it honestly plays into what I was about to say. A very, very deep central thesis to this movie is that people are more than their mistakes.
I agree with you, but this isn't played as a mistake.
No, not by Leia, it isn't.
Or the movie. She gets a triumphant, heroic sacrifice that is seen as like the movie frames her as right, and she is presented as right.
Let's go back to DJ, the guy they get to hack the computer.
Who I liked, by the way. Benicio del Toro did a great job.
Yeah, fantastic character.
That's the worst part, is I like all the parts of this movie. And I really like other parts of it. And this one part is driving me so batty.
Well, and that's, I find it really interesting, not just because, not that it bothers you, because it is admittedly a kind of weak or perhaps muddied plot point.
That exists either to, like, I can't fathom why this is in the movie other than to play for time.
But it's not to play for time, because they cut down the movie.
Right. So why is it there?
It's cool.
No. Like, the sequence of events that happens are cool, but the entire, like...
Well, it's there because they need to set up Poe as being 100% capable to be a leader. Because, I mean, I know at the end of the film we still have Leia, but y'all know real life, the next movie we won't. He is going to be chain of command.
That's true, I just think there were other less really, really clumsy ways to do that.
Well, and there was a lot of working for time in that too, because who knows how many of those scenes were cut down to quick lines. And this is 100% theory, just speculation. This is not fact, but Leia might have given a more reasonable response. Actually, no, she didn't, because none of Carrie's scenes were cut. I forgot about that. So, fuck that. But there may have been more background about the character and how she was hard-nosed elsewhere like this, and that's why people respected her, because she ran places where you don't go off half-cocked.
There's one line about it where when they introduced Vice Admiral Holdo, dumb name, by the way. I like Laura Dern as an actor. That's another part that bothers me.
She's with Holdo because she with Holdo information.
Normally I would react like that was dumb, but that literally might be what I call her for the rest of the time. Vice Admiral with Holdo information for no reason, no. With Holdo for short. It's just like they introduce her and he goes, "That's Admiral Holdo? Battle of something Holdo." Like clearly she's supposed to have like a very, very like badass reputation.
Right, and she really seems more like a dignitary.
But she doesn't act like a badass. She acts like a politician. They literally spend. I honestly thought she was just going to be a traitor. Because that would have made this whole thing make sense.
Well, and okay, let me take it back again. Let me take it back to DJ. Because he makes a point in the middle of the movie to point out that all these people, they made this big point about, warmongering is bad, selling weapons to the bad guys, you're allowed to hate these people. DJ stops and goes, yeah, they did sell weapons to the bad guys. They sell weapons to the good guys, too. These people do all kinds of shit. All people do all kinds of shit, and I think that resonates through the movie. So, Holdo, or Leia, or whoever, Poe, whether you agree with them or not, they make a series of good and bad decisions. Everyone in this movie makes at least one mistake, or that goes against whatever they feel the core of their character is. Literally everyone in this film, except maybe like Chewie. No, Chewie.
What'd Chewie do?
He almost ate that Borg.
No, that things look delicious.
Sure.
They can be sad about it all they want. Did you see them?
No,
Did you see the cooked one? It looked delicious.
Yeah, it was glistening, or maybe Chewie's mistake was throwing it away, and now he's covered in porgs. I don't know. I don't speak Shuriwook. But...
If only.
If only. So, maybe we're seeing, and again, speculation, maybe we're seeing a great admiral who made one bad call. And it was withholding information to be a petty bitch and teach this guy his place because she heard Leia was upset with him but didn't have time to talk to her about it because coma.
Possible. But they did nothing to set that up in the film.
No. And again, because it was a 3-hour film at least before they cut it down. I'm not saying that's what they cut. I'm just, there might be more reasons to it. There might be expanded universe stuff for it. I don't think this bureaucrat, because no matter what she is, she's being very bureaucratic about information and all that kind of thing, and chain of command and such. I don't think her being a bitch, despite being on the good guy's side, is that damaging to the rest of the really great sequences and character moments that follow because of it.
It damages it for me because the rest of the movie doesn't portray that character. When the rest of the characters in this movie make mistakes, their mistakes are portrayed as mistakes for the most part.
Well, yes and no, because Luke even points this out specifically. He mentions, I did this, that, and this, but I fucked up along the way. Now I'm a legend. So Holdo does this, that, and this, fucks up, but at the end of the day, she goes full Zutalore and becomes a legend.
Just the when I saw her turn for the Icarus solution, I'm sure you heard me start cackling.
Yeah,
in the theater.
I did. I was like, I knew it was coming. A long time.
Yeah.
I could smell it, and I was like, yes.
Oh, it's just like, and that's the other part is I hate this character now because she caused so much unnecessary death and destruction just to teach someone their place.
Well, and that's the irony as well. She thought she knew she was going to be a hero in that, I taught the reckless Poe Dameron what he needed to know. And in the end, she fucked them over just as much by being so short-sighted, by doing only what she wanted to do, by using only her solution to this method.
I mean, yeah, that's a perfectly reasonable explanation. I would have loved for it to be in the movie.
Yeah, but, you know, I mean, I believe another complaint you had was that it took a while to actually end.
Yeah, that was one of my first complaints, but I think that's more a symptom of the fact that several of the climaxes and action sequences were in that part of the movie I really liked, that by the events that are in the movie are only there because one character was on a power trip, and that character is then lauded by the rest of the movie.
Well, so let's also hold on to the information. Let's pull it back down off the shelf. When Poe needs to make that leader decision at the end of the movie to fall back,
which I believe in my rage-induced rant right after seeing the movie, I said literally everything Poe does in this movie is framed as being wrong until he decides to stand back and let the real protagonists handle it.
Well, except that he decides to fall back, and he communicates that to his team.
And the reasons why, and the reasoning behind his decision.
So it's easy to infer that he took handfuls from both lessons. Both withholding information is stupid and wrong. Look how much damage it caused.
Unless it needs to know. Like, unless there's a reason to keep it secret.
Unless there's a good reason, like spies or communication lines or whatever. And there wasn't. And then B, sometimes you just have to walk away. And it's you know, I was talking with another friend of mine about this, that Finn is so impressionable that he kind of carried that hero moment air of Poe, even though Poe was like, let's fall back. He was like, no, we got to be the heroes and do the big damn hero thing.
That's another thing is, I get why they want John Boyega in the next movie. I get it. Man, you don't blue balls me with a heroic sacrifice like that, man.
I don't think it would have worked. I think they showed us that too, with the way his guns were melting in the wake of that beam.
Yeah, you're probably right.
I think Rose saved his damn life. But like in the end, at the end of the day, because okay, let's look at this. You have to go a little bit of meta to get where I'm coming from. Perhaps I think within the narrative, those two ideas that you know.
Well, the problem is once we go meta within the narrative, the only reason she doesn't tell him is so that there's a plot there. Because if she told him, there wouldn't be.
Well, no, and I mean, I'm not trying to go to that like blunt of the meta, but within the narrative, the two reasons I feel are A, it gives us a scene that gives us a lot of character development for two characters, and Finn being one who desperately needs some. Because if you recall, by the end of that movie, I didn't care for Finn much of the last one.
Finn is like. And that's the other thing is that sequence. That's one of the reasons I actually like that sequence in and of itself. It provides really important character motivation for Finn. It provides really important character development for Finn. It gives Rose a character, which is nice.
I think she had some at first, but it like really lets her shine and makes her a character.
Gives her dimension.
Yeah, not just like background character.
Like, and it sells the nature of the resistance and the nature of hope and yeah, there is a really, really, really ham-fisted rich people are evil, war is bad message in there.
But I do like that because DJ subverts it so soon after.
And it's Star Wars.
Yeah, that too.
Rich people are evil. One of them was an evil slug who, tongue rapes Leia in one of the movies. All of the rich people we've ever met in the Star Wars universe are either a member of the Organa family or pretty shitty.
I was like thinking ahead because you got to do that when you do a podcast. You have to anticipate what your fellow talker is going to say. And I thought you were just going to say they were pretty shitty. And I was saving back there I don't know, man, Ricky Schroeder's a good guy. But, man, no, you roost me. You swoosed me.
And it is a ham-fisted, rich people are evil, war is bad. I get it. But, at the same time, it's Star Wars. I kind of want some simple moral lessons in there, man. That's kind of the point.
Well, okay, on one hand, yeah. Original
And
trilogy.
they went out of the way to really, complicate and look into the philosophy of the rest of the trilogy, so I'm glad they gave me something to replace it. Because one of my favorite parts of the movie is Luke finally calling the Jedi Order out on their shit.
Oh, hell yeah. Well, okay, so, look at it this way. This is not my meta point, by the way, but look at it this way. We've got 2 different film series and an ethos of, at this point, 3 expanded universes that have been replaced up until the 3rd one.
Right.
That fans think of as the Star Wars.
Right.
The 2 original film trilogies could not be more disconnected.
Yeah, that's true.
They just don't even feel like they're made by the same fucking guy. And they were.
Well, it's because one was made by a guy who had people who he was willing to listen to, and the other one was made by that same guy without that second part.
Well, and one was made by a guy in his 30s, and the other one was made by a guy, 20 years later?
Yeah, so it makes differences.
Yeah, sure. So too will these films feel different, and Disney, as a monolith, wants to continue this franchise and wants to set up this stuff. The stuff that we love about the expanded universe are those little moments of good and bad. We love the Boba Fett, who lives outside the law and is a jackass, but he's so cool, yo.
No disintegrations.
Yeah, none. That's bad. We like DJ, even though he's a slime in the end.
Oh, I love, alright, so that's one of the things I like about DJ, about that character, is he comes out of nowhere. He is a cool, honestly, one of the reasons I like this middle bit is that, and you've heard me say this about other movies before, it feels like a role-playing game. It feels like, alright, the setup is the Resistance cruiser is running away from the First Order. You have a limited amount of time. You have to go to this cool casino and engage in espionage at the casino and get a super hacker. And here's this one super cool, smooth NPC super hacker that I made. But one of the players decides he wants to play a dirty, grungy super hacker.
Right.
And so they introduce him when they're in prison, and then he comes along with them, and he's secretly he's got a heart of gold. He's not such a bad guy after all. And then he is a bad guy. He's just...
Yeah, they did a lot of really clever...
He just is the slime ball that Han Solo pretends to be.
Yeah, they did a lot of really clever swerves. I hate to use that word because Russo's made it bad, and Russo and M. Night Shyamalan. But they play with your expectations of a Star Wars trope and set you up to believe that this is going to go like The Force Awakens and it just be a Star Wars from the old day. And they don't slam you with the swerve, and I think that's why they work. Things just sort of happen in a direction that you weren't anticipating.
To be fair, much like The Force Awakens, we do revisit a popular previous Star Wars scene and location, just with a slight twist. This time we went to Salthoff.
Well, yeah, actually, I really like a lot of the narrative resonance with... that's not the word I'm looking for, but whatever.
Actually, George Lucas literally says it in several interviews. The movies are supposed to rhyme.
Right.
They don't repeat, they rhyme.
And it rhymes so much better than The Force Awakens did with A New Hope.
This movie feels very Empire.
Yeah, well, and oh god, that's something else is that the visuals. This movie looked 1970s.
Except for the casino bits.
The casino, yeah, looked really ritzy. I will agree with that. And it shows that Star Wars is different, everywhere. But it integrated those things a little more than the previous films did.
They brought back Yoda for a bit, and he was a Force ghost, and he was a puppet again, and he was using the voice he uses, it was a Frank Oz impersonator, so it was the...
Oh, it was Frank Oz.
Oh, it was Frank Oz?
Yeah.
I thought he was dead. Sweet.
So did a lot of other people. Someone I know was at work overhearing customers talking, and they were going on about how, they used old lines, I guess, from stuff Frank Oz had said as different characters, and it's No, he was just in the film. He almost spoiled... Well, he didn't spoil it, but he confirmed he was in the film by not confirming he was in the film because of legal documents you had to sign. Like, homeboy's still kicking.
That's really cool.
Yeah, no, it is. And
but like, he was Frank Oz, and he was using the Empire voice, which is... Empire Yoda is the best Yoda.
the Empire cadence, Tiny Green Buddha, is what he was doing.
Yes. And
just the impatience and...
Like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna light all the texts on fire. Oh, I can't because this is, I've worked so long. I'll do it. Lightning.
Blow it up for you, I will.
Now they're on fire. Do nothing you can.
You did what you wanted, you did.
Happy you are? No?
Except Ray already took the books.
That's what that laugh was.
Yeah.
He's like,
Kicked his little Yoda feet.
Honestly, if it wasn't for that one thing, which is so unnecessary, I would really love this movie.
Well, and it didn't hit me anywhere near that hard. I mean, yeah, I was a little weak, and yeah, she was being a bitch for no reason, but this is a really shitty excuse to fall back on, but people are like that.
Yeah, that's true.
And you don't want it, but they are. And, I hate that because that is sadly a slippery slope to the George R. R. Martin, well, the good guys don't always win. So, fuck you. I'm not trying to be like that. But, I mean, if you're looking for a reason, there is one. Above and beyond, narrative shit. But back to what I was saying about the meta thing. This dude only gets one movie. Well, before he goes off and does his own trilogy.
Right.
And he basically threw out the window not only the original script treatment, which was partly with Disney, with the rest of the people involved, because the original script for this film didn't resonate with the stuff that happened in The Force Awakens enough by the final draft. So he tossed it out, wrote his own fucking script, and some other people doctored it, but he did his own thing. Homeboy was like, I am so excited I get to do a Star Wars movie. I'm going to do the coolest Star Wars movie ever. And it's going to be over 3 hours long because I just want to cram all the stuff I want to do into this movie.
Yeah, there was enough plot here for 3 Star Wars movies.
Sure. I mean, I said it not long after we got out of there. They could have taken a couple of the really important scenes and parts of this movie and split the rest of this movie into 2 movies. The really important scenes from the first one, I should say. Because there was a lot of, weird prequel fluff. Not that bad, but in that vein in The Force Awakens. Just, the comedy was a lot higher, the slapstick was a lot higher.
I don't know what you're talking about, dude. A full, wedge, 30% of that entire casino scene is comedy bits.
Well, then there's comedy in Star Wars. I'm not saying there isn't, but, I don't know. I'd have to have visuals to relay it properly over podcast, but... And good God, I'm certainly not saying it's as bad as Attack of the Clones in terms of comedy.
Attack of the Clones is the worst Star Wars movie. That is just fact. It's worse than Phantom Menace. I will fight anyone on the internet about it.
I'm not on the internet, so we have an accord. But anyway, we've talked a lot about this, and obviously we're both very passionate about it. But
I want to like this movie more than I do. I like it. I do. I
am going to break my one rule. Mikey, you know the thing that we told you to stop saying? I'm going to say it now. Sometimes you just have to let it go.
He must really like this fucking movie.
Dude, I do. And, I think
if you're wondering how Joel eats and breathes.
Well, not even that far. I think there's enough fudge around the corners that you can kind of, look past it real fast.
And just shrug and go, I mean, maybe she was just a bitch.
Yeah, maybe she was just a bitch. Maybe Leia liked her for reasons that, didn't come up in professional world.
I mean, to be fair, it was Leia. Maybe she liked her because she's a bitch.
She gets under Poe's skin, and that makes
No.
I shot him earlier. Fuck do I care? But yeah, okay, so there's so much cool shit in this movie.
There's so much good in this movie. And I want to go back to it because it bears fucking repeating. it has been such a long time coming, and if I was a different person, if I was a more melodramatic person, I'd have stood up in the theater and shouted "Vindication!" when Luke Skywalker takes the fucking Jedi Order right downtown to where they fucking belong and calls them out on their fucking hypocrisy and arrogance.
It was beautiful, and like I think it's hilarious.
And he just does it in like 2 sentences, but he just completely strips all their bullshit away.
I find it baffling that Mark Hamill hated this script.
I don't.
But he played this character. You know what I mean? Like, to me, and Luke, out of the main Star Wars cast, Luke is my favorite character. I love his entire journey. I absolutely love how he flirts with the dark side in Jedi. Those little tiny moments, where, you know, he is kind of on the edge that they expanded on in the expanded universe years ago, and they do again here. It feels like a natural progression of the character.
Given where he ends up in Jedi, I think Mark Hamill would never have seen Luke as this bitter.
I don't even know how much it is bitterness.
And,
it's self-loathing.
This full of self-loathing, and this, as Yoda puts it, you didn't listen. He didn't listen.
No.
And, like, by the end of Jedi, the point is that Luke, he listened. Like, he knew. But at the same time, like, I get where Mark Hamill's coming from, but there's also a case for the opposite, because in the end, I think, it's been so long since I've watched Jedi, but I believe Yoda straight up tells him to kill Darth Vader. Like, and Luke is all, no, that's wrong. I can fix him. And he ends up right.
Sure. I mean, and that gave him a big head, and he talks about that in the film. He's like, you know, that's when he's talking about, now I'm a legend.
Because I did it.
Because I did the thing. So, yeah, a legend in the mind of the people, and also a legend in the mind of himself. Of course I can start my own Jedi Order. Of course I'm a Jedi Master now.
Oh, that's clearly what the line, "and then I became a legend," was about.
Yeah.
Was him saying, yeah, and then I started believing my own hype.
And then he just fell to hubris, forgetting that he isn't a legend, he's a person. And even Yoda has character growth from Jedi to this film.
Because he's been a Force ghost, and he's been talking with people for a while.
He's been a Force ghost, and he comes up with his little green Buddha wisdom, and, you know, it's a great line. I don't have the IMDb up for, but he talks about how the newer generations are going to make their own way and be better than us, no matter what we do.
We are who they grow beyond.
Yes. And, like, that's so deep on so many levels, and it resonates again, you know, not only with the obvious with Rey, who I felt had a lot of real humanizing moments in this movie.
I agree. I felt she had a lot of humanizing moments. This is going to come across real shitty. I would like to see her lose a fight. That's usually important to the growth of a Star Wars protagonist.
Well, I mean, like, she's real good at the Force.
Right, but so was Anakin Skywalker, and he got his whole arm chopped off at the end of Episode 2.
Yeah, but there were like a million guys who were real good at the Force around at the time.
Right.
She's, like, not as hard in the dark side as he was.
But, you're right. You are entirely correct, but she is partially in the dark side. That's very well established in the movie. And also, like, she's had no training. Not even, like, the shitty half training Luke had on...
Yeah, she's had 3 days of a crash course.
She's had 3 days of, like, 2 pep talks and then a crotchety old man... and following a crotchety old man around on an island. Like, she didn't even carry him around in a backpack. She didn't even lift some rocks. She did nothing. And then she's, like, whipping out fucking 9th level judo's fucking lightsaber moves in a fight with Kylo Ren. And I don't mean with Kylo Ren. I mean, like, they're back-to-back badasses, and she's, like, doing as well as Kylo Ren, who spent his entire childhood learning the ways of the fucking Force.
Well, and I think that's the interesting thing, too, is, I mean, you know, she's got a reason to be a good fighter. That's not that weird. And especially... She's got
a reason to be an okay fighter. And scrapping for junk on Jakku is not learning fucking martial arts laser fencing.
At the same time, there's a wealth of difference between, flying a pod racer or a T-16 and a spaceship and blowing up the Death Star.
Oh, yeah, no, a certain level of, prophetic skill is appropriate.
Sure.
For a Star Wars protagonist.
And she's over the top.
But so is losing occasionally.
Sure.
A big loss is important, and this was the movie to do it in.
I'm not sure. If they end up going with a longer movie, episode 3...
To be fair, she doesn't take a battle loss, but she does take a pretty big L in this movie in that she believes she can turn Kylo Ren, and she is wrong.
And, I really like how they set that up, not even in Star Wars expectations. It looks like that's going to be the case, right down to Kylo killing Snoke.
Which was perfect.
Yeah.
People are mad online about Snoke going out like a bitch. I don't give a fuck about Snoke. Who cares about Snoke?
People are mad online for a million different reasons that basically equate to my personal theory didn't happen. And I'd like to say to each and every one of you, haha, fuck you all, mine did. First scene with Luke back, he takes that lightsaber, he hucks it backwards over his shoulder and wanders the fuck off.
There is one thing about Rey that I get why they did, but I don't like.
Okay.
I don't like that her parents weren't important.
God, I do. I'm dreading her to be like the daughter or something of somebody.
I get why they did it. The purpose is to show that anyone can be strong in the Force. And that's probably part of the reason why she's so mimetic badass in the Force without any training. Snoke mentions it in their scene together. I warned Kylo that as he became stronger in the Force, his opposite would grow. She's a rival PC, according to Order of the Stick rules. She just gets more powerful as Kylo Ren trains so that she can fight him and be roughly equivalent level. She's just functioning on rival PC rules. She doesn't have to train to get better. Kylo trains and she gets better because Kylo needs an equal. The Force is a DM.
Well, and as well, for better or worse, depending on which side of the line you fall, we still have a third movie where the guy who did the first movie gets to come back and assert his dominance on the last say. So it might be, no, Kylo Ren died. I, Force Ghost Luke Skywalker, am totally your dad.
To be fair, there's a tradition about lying about parentage in the Star Wars universe.
Sure, certainly.
Kylo Ren, what I told you was true, from a certain point of view.
You are the child of Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru, lying in a was it a pauper's grave somewhere in the desert?
They are. I wanted her to be the child of Palpatine. That was my personal theory. Yeah. I wanted it because it would fit for Sheev to have plans in place, plans within plans, wheels within wheels.
I agree with that.
And two, I like. Part of me really liked that Star Wars was, in large part, a few very specific families circling around each other and fucking each other's shit up throughout time and space.
Well, and that's what I'm talking about here as well. And I like that they've done it a bit more gracefully than, all of the Slayers at the end of Buffy. But we're setting up a huge franchise here. This is no longer just about the Skywalkers and
the Solos, the Palpatines.
If you're gonna build a new Jedi Order in any respect, you need more Jedi.
And I like it. I like that that's what they want to set up. I like they want to set up that it doesn't matter who Rey is. What matters is that Rey is strong with the Force, and she's strong with the Force because Kylo Ren is strong with the Force, and someone must be there to combat the dark side. That's neat. That's interesting. I would have preferred the other way, but I don't dislike it.
Sure.
I'm just disappointed.
Yeah, that's fair. I kind of would have preferred it if DJ came back and was like, I got my money, fuck these Empire guys. But, he didn't, and that's okay.
Yeah, sometimes
he just left.
Sometimes people are just sleazebags.
Yeah, okay.
I was expecting it to be him and the Walker.
That's what I was thinking, too. BB-8 was cool, too, though.
Yeah, BB-8 was cool. BB-8 was fun. I really would have enjoyed it if it was just him, like, shoo, 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 shoo. What are you doing? I got my money. Fuck these guys. He did a really convincing stutter.
It was an interesting one, yeah. I like how he used different syllables, because usually what a stutterer does to get over their stutter is changes the words. That was a nice thing that, ironically, I liked about Porky Pig, even though he was kind of hard on that stutter. But I did some research on the disorder back when I was in high school, and it was cool to see that, paid attention to. I love Rose. I 110% love Rose.
I mean, so do I.
But
I don't think that was ever in doubt.
She's amazing. What a great character who goes from nothing to giving everything. And why? Because it's the right thing to do. Like, that is phenomenal. And she's just so well acted and so well written. The visuals of this movie were amazing. Snoke's sexy golden nightgown, first of all. his Hugh Hefner jacket.
I enjoy that they really sold that Snoke was not going to get beaten straight up.
No, I like that he had a big power moment, and that, again, everybody has their failures. His hubris brought him down.
Because he was too strong. You weren't going to beat him.
No.
Like, Rey tried, and he clowned her.
Yeah.
Repeatedly.
It was only with... And I liked that a lot about... I like that even after all of this, even through all of his anger, there is still that little tiny sliver of... Should I be doing this in Kylo Ren?
Yeah.
Like, that's so humanizing.
Kylo Ren is an amazing villain.
I like him so much more after this film.
This movie made him a more... I'm sad they got rid of the hat. I guess maybe Adam Driver got tired of wearing it. Or
I think we needed his face more for the acting in this.
I like that hat, though.
Sure, cool hat.
But it's intended to let him get past old things. He drops his Vader worship in this movie because he wants to move past it. It doesn't matter. It's not about being Vader. It's about being Kylo Ren.
Right, and I kind of liked that too. I mean, honestly, I would have been
fine.
fine.
What the fuck happened to the Knights of Ren? Those were cool dudes in the Force Awakens. They did the outline of, like, there was the one giant dude. I want to see the Knights of Ren.
Yeah, dude, and I love that they kind of hinted that maybe the students that he took with him were other Knights of Ren. Like, that's where they ended up being, and where are they now? Like, finding out more shit about them would be awesome.
I hope the guards weren't them. Like, the guards.
That'd be good, though.
That'd be good if, like, it was Kylo Ren taking out his boys.
Yeah.
Because Snoke had subverted his boys from him.
Yeah, that would be good shit. Like, these characters are so complex. I love light and dark. I love that building. But I'm also glad to see very complex characters analyzed in a Star Wars film. We have had a lot of other movies that had pretty standard white and black, in terms of morality.
And even still, there's no... Kylo Ren is not the good guy. They don't ever imply that.
But, like, he is more than just the baddie.
Yeah, because, like, at the last moment, he could kill his dad... can't kill his mom.
No, that was good stuff.
But when someone else did, he didn't do anything to stop it. Like, someone else tried to take Leia out, and he was just like, okay.
Yeah, I'm not going to be the hand that pulls the trigger, but look, I'm not going to stop it either. I also absolutely loved the little hints they gave you about Luke's ruse at the end.
Mm-hmm.
That was, like, really phenomenal. Little tiny touches. Where
he looks different.
It looks like he maybe cut his hair and put on a nice jacket because he's going to go do something cool. Maybe kind of a waste of time, but whatever. You could believe that. Why's he got a blue lightsaber? That's gone. His lightsaber's green. Also, why doesn't he leave footprints in the salt?
When they make a point about everyone else leaving footprints, and they cut several times throughout the fight to Kylo Ren's footwork and him smearing footprints through the salt, but Luke doesn't. They don't hide it.
No, but they're not, like, overt about it, and it was cool as hell. I also think it's really cool, and I'm excited in a little way for the next movie to see if they capitalize on it. In Empire and in Jedi, Force ghosts were shimmery blue, like hologram-looking motherfuckers. In this movie, Yoda had density. He bapped Luke in the head.
He bonked Luke right on his fucking noggin.
He was capable of still using the Force from beyond the grave. What does this mean for Ben?
Because, I mean, the Force ghosts are still existent. They're part of the living Force, but they're still people. They're still creatures.
what does this mean for Obi-Wan Kenobi? What does this mean for actually Darth Vader? What does this mean for...
Because Anakin got his Force Ghost on.
What does this mean for Qui-Gon Jinn?
They could bring Hayden Christensen back!
What does this mean...
Oh my god, they could do a fucking Jedi Ghost Army like Return of the King!
What does this mean for Luke Skywalker? And what does this mean for... God, I love this fan theory, Han Solo?
Where Han Solo is a Force sensitive?
Is violently Force sensitive. What does this mean for Leia?
I mean, they set up the Han Solo thing.
Yeah, they did. And like,
strike me down in anger and I will always be with you like your father.
Yeah, it was so good. And just the dialogue was so good. There were like maybe 5 bad lines in this movie. Most of them were jokes. One of them was something Luke says. But it was just bad delivery and they were like, fuck it.
Wait, which one was that?
Here's one, like, after Yoda blows up the Jedi tree and Hamill's on the ground, I forget exactly what he says, but it's some expression of like, what the hell did you do that for? Like, the Jedi books or something. It just sounds ridiculous.
Oh, the sacred Jedi texts. Read them, have you? Page turners were they? Yoda's such a sassy little bitch again, and I love it.
It's fantastic. Yeah, man, I there was so much I loved about this movie. I loved that the one rebel dude stopped, looked at the weird stuff on the ground, tasted it, and went, salt. Thank you. I was curious. Not quite what I would do in that situation. I decry people just licking minerals they find. But, I'm glad he found out for me and then enlightened me.
Salt.
It's just like the realest little... What is this? Yeah, man, there's just so much to enjoy about this film. Both because there's a lot of film, and like they packed it with good shit.
Right down to Luke's grim-faced. This is how the world is. Swig of elephant guy milk.
Creepy. That was the one spoiler I had for this movie, because Tumblr would not tag it because it was so fucking absurd. Was Luke's titty milk. Just the face that this is life out here.
It's hard out here on the streets.
I love the fucking temple Kuatoas just trying to live their lives.
There's one thing where, like, another tiny thing I'm mad about is, the scene, you've seen the scene in the trailer, you've seen it in the movie, I'm sure, if you're this far into the podcast, where Rey is, like, doing her little stick kata and she's not hitting the divots in the rock. I wanted that, like, in the thing, they just showed the one with the lightsaber. I wanted that to be part of her training sequence, where he's teaching her how to use a lightsaber, and, like, that rock face starts out as flat, and she keeps bapping into it, and she's supposed to stop. He's like, stop before you hit the rock. And then, like, her showing, like, during the montage, the Jedi training montage that we all wanted, like, one of the things that shows her mastery is when she manages to stop before the end.
Sure. I liked it because it shows 2 things. One, it shows that she is a capable enough fighter because she first does it with her stick.
Yeah.
2, it shows a lot of the Jedi fangirlism that was talked about in the first movie but not shown very well.
Where everyone's like, holy shit, Jedi!
Well, but where she specifically, because she loved the rebellion and those stories, she had that helmet and all that shit. Mm-hmm. But it didn't show, like, the depths of which, like, how she appreciated it. Obviously enough to understand how a training sequence would go. So because Luke refuses to train her in the way she wants to be trained, she trains herself on this rock, finds this rock, and pulls herself up by her bootstraps. And then fucks it up and upsets some Kuatoa.
That's actually why I brought it up first, because she cuts the rock in half at the end of her thing, clearly on accident, and then it rolls down the hill and takes out a Kuatoa's cart, and he's left holding one broken off handle, and he just looks back and forth like, is this my fucking life now? Is this what I gotta deal with today?
Get this bitch off the island.
Oh.
I also like how they were, like, clearly split evolution from porgs. That was really cool. Mm-hmm. And porgs are still little, very primitive bird creatures, and these Kuatoa things are similar in structure and shape and stuff, but, like, clearly fish evolved and then evolved to walk on land. That's just really cool. Really cool creature design.
I feel like we've talked this movie to death.
And we managed not to make it a line-orama, which is what I try to avoid. Don't go in super early. Sit for an hour, because you might get Return of the King syndrome by the time you get past the previews and Maria Menounos or whoever advertises crap in your local theater.
And look, if you haven't seen the movie and you just wanted our opinion on it, spoilers, so that you knew it was safe, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. When you get to the part where General Purple Hair is a bitch, just fucking try not to think about it. Just try not to think about it, because it will negatively impact your ability to enjoy the movie.
Yeah, this lady is a bitch. She is not the cool lady who, pet that Triceratops and tried to make it feel better. She's just some bitch.
Yeah, unfair casting. I have a natural inclination to like that actress.
Yeah. I could keep talking about this and the implications and stuff in universe for a long time. I really like this film. It would be hard to unseat Jedi, because not even Revenge of the Sith, as much as I like that, could do it.
I think a second watching might help me like this movie more.
Well, dude, it will happen. I am down to clown.
But I like that this movie, more so than The Force Awakens, really tries to separate, to become a new thing.
Yeah. Because
obviously we're not going to get any more with Leia, which is sad, because they said 9 was going to be, her big movie, where she was probably going to die. So we're not going to get any more her, which sucks. Luke is dead. Han is dead. It's the new cast now that they separated. The story of the Skywalker family, especially with Rey not being important, is coming to a close. I like that, because it lets the Skywalker arc be a completed story.
Sure. I've seen desire online for a movie about an expanded universe character that's since been removed from the universe that I'd like to see reinserted in some fashion.
Thrawn?
Revan.
Don't tease. Not cool, not fair.
It's a popular request. And I love that the guy who made this film is getting 3 more films.
I'll watch those.
Oh, hell yeah. He did such a good job directing this.
He made one really potent misstep, but the rest of the movie was great.
Well, and much like he should, he used a lot of samurai films as source material, as reference, and showed them to the crew and was like, this is what we want.
Because that's what you want. Mm-hmm. They're just samurai movies, guys.
They're amazing samurai movies. But, we've talked your ears off. Can you outro us, my friend?
Absolutely. Everything's better when nerds talk about it.
Fuck it, let's get hardcore!